You have a Pisces eclipse hangover? We were just
No.
talking about this. Yeah, backstage, we just had a total lunar full moon eclipse in Pisces on, what was it, Sunday?
Yeah,
And
Sunday.
there have been mixed reactions from folks. I've heard from people that have found out secrets so they didn't know before. You and I were just talking about how, or Scott will be back in a second. We were talking about uh, how Pisces hit in each of our charts, and that we get these like business downloads. And this was no exception. I was getting a bunch of business ideas. Scott was getting a bunch of business ideas. And so we were just talking about that behind the scenes. And so I'd like to lead off with that question for everybody tuning in. Let us know, where are you joining us from? Here's Scott back in action.
Hmm.
And
I
let
got
us know.
bounced.
Yeah, I know you did get bounced. Let us know in the comments how this weekend was for you. So
Hmm.
I was just mentioning to folks that we've been getting a lot of business downloads. We were exchanging
Yeah.
notes on how the eclipse has activated our lives. And
Yes.
I feel like, I don't want to speak for you, but I feel like we both feel more energized and like a huge relief, like
Yes.
that we've cut these like heavy weights off of us as it relates to different parts of work and what that
Yes.
looks like for us. Would you agree?
Oh yeah, 100%. That's exactly how it was for me. But maybe it's because we were both born with the moon in Pisces that it was a little easier for us. But yeah, I mean, I totally got clarity on some work stuff and some classes that I've been teaching, and how I'm going to switch things up moving forward. Literally on Sunday during the eclipse, wasn't even like trying to like go there, was literally just like doing other stuff, like walking down the street, or I don't even remember exactly. I was kind of just running errands, and it just came to me, like everything came to me, and it felt like such a relief. I was just so relieved. I'm like, okay, this is what I've been waiting for. This is what I've been wanting to do, but I didn't have the clarity. And I had the clarity. It's like the fantasy, the release of that Pisces energy, like brought me back down to the Virgo reality of what I need to be doing.
Ooh, I just got chills on that because I would describe it in a similar way. It was like, whoa, the light bulbs are going off. But not just the
Yes.
light bulbs, because I get a bunch of downloads all the time about life and business and things. But I actually felt like I knew how to land it. Like I got it
Mm.
and I knew how to integrate it in and like
Yes.
what these next steps would be, which is that Virgo energy. So hopefully folks got like the aha, the light bulb, and then they felt like, okay, now I know what I need to do with this.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's right.
It's
That's
so
how I
good.
felt. Totally. Just
Yeah.
like you. Exactly.
Okay, so we're gonna start off the
Excited.
show on a good note. This is my
Ah!
mom. My my mom is
I love
complimenting
when your
my
mom
hair.
chimes in. I love it. Your mom is a great peanut gallery member. Yeah, she's
Yes.
fantastic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and who doesn't want a compliment? So even though it's from my mom, I
Yeah.
will take it.
That's right. Yes.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So let us know where you're tuning in from. We'd love to hear from you and how the eclipse energy treated you over the weekend. We've got a few things going on astrologically. I feel like we could just jump right in because I'm sure I'll have a bunch of questions.
Hmm.
The first one that I have is for September 13th. The sun conjunct Mercury in Virgo, 20 degrees. I know astrologers refer to this as a kazimi, a kiss, Mercury and the sun coming together. So the Mercury kazimi,
Hmm.
wow. Psychically, what I see when I even say that out loud
Tell
is like
me.
these gold stars like floating around in the energy. So I
Hmm.
feel like we could be having really important conversations, but what I'm feeling energetically with it is that it doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be where we're dreading it and we have, this anxiety in our stomach and we're afraid to say the thing we know we need to say. This Mercury kazimi feels like it could bring a lightness to it. Now, you might tell me something different about the
No.
astrology, but what does it look like to you when you think about that?
Well, I love what you say. I mean, when I think of Virgo, because that's where the Kazimi is happening in Virgo, and Virgo is the sign that rules the intestines, and the intestines are that organ in the body that eliminates whatever's in the body that is no longer serving the body. So when you eliminate something, you feel lighter, right? If it's like, so you clean your house, you clear your schedule, that's the Virgo energy. So it can bring a lightness. I think that's what this Kazimi is supposed to do, is bring a lightness, because it's like it's getting organized. And when you're getting organized, like we're getting organized for these babies that are coming our way, it's like we have to reorganize the house. We're getting rid of certain things. We're clearing out shelves and drawers and finding the space of where we're going to put their things. So this is a good time to clear out your schedule, clear out your house, whatever isn't serving you. This is about creating efficiency.
Yeah, so we would want to look to the area of our chart where we have Virgo to get that clue, that hint as to what area of our life we're supposed to be cleaning out and organizing. And since it's Mercury, do you think that lends to having these uplifting conversations?
Well, I think Mercury brings clarity.
Okay.
And, when it's in the eye of the sun, it's light and consciousness. So it's going to be, the conversations will maybe be lighter because we're going to understand each other better. I see it when I'm looking at somebody's chart that I'm doing a reading for. It's like today I had a reading with somebody who was born with Mercury trine the ascendant. It was so easy to understand what she was saying to me. I wasn't having to work to really concentrate, just a really easy communicator. You see that also with people that were born with the Mercury Kazimi. People that are born with the Mercury Kazimi are typically, they're great communicators. They're able to bring light and consciousness to the way that they speak to their thoughts. And they're also, I find that they're great athletes or very coordinated people, because Mercury is the planet of coordination. So when there's greater clarity in communication, when there's greater ease in coordination, it just feels like things are a bit lighter.
Okay. So we would want to look at our chart to determine if we have a Mercury kazimi. You would look for the sun glyph and the Mercury glyph and see if they are next to each other in your birth chart. How wide of an degree orb, do you give those?
Oh, I mean, I would say 3 degrees or so.
Okay.
But I
3 degrees or
mean,
less, yeah.
if you were born 5 degrees away, I mean, it's not nothing. I mean, it's like the orb thing. It's kind of like when people ask me about that, I think of it as like you're in your kitchen and the stove is on. So say you just walk into your kitchen, you might be 5 degrees away from the stove. Well, by the time you're at 0 degrees, you're sitting on the stove. So that's the difference. It's like if you're sitting on the stove when it's on, you're feeling it.
Yeah.
You're still feeling it when you're in the room. It's heating up the kitchen, but it's not as strong as when you're actually sitting on the stove.
That makes a lot of sense. I love that. I do have to answer a question that's been coming up in the chat.
Yes.
We usually have a jar on the screen.
Oh, right.
And we usually give away a 12-month tarot report to one lucky viewer. And we are still going to be doing that, but we're going to do it in a slightly different way in this episode. So you'll want to stay and watch the whole episode, and you'll get those instructions later on. So more to come. We didn't forget.
And also for the people that have been watching not live, because not everyone can join us live. So for the ones that watch the whole episode, I guess, yeah, cool.
Yeah. So more to come on that in a little bit. I know, nothing like a good tease, right? Okay. So the Mercury kazimi, we talked about that. It's going to happen at 20 degrees Virgo. That happens on the 13th. So because Mercury is approaching the sun, and then it's going to go past it, how long do you think this energy is going to, do you kind of feel it mostly for like a week or so? Is that what you're thinking?
Well, we're already feeling it right now.
Okay.
So like right now, literally at the moment that we're talking, Mercury's within 3 degrees of the sun. By tomorrow, it's 2 degrees. By Thursday, it's within a degree. And then on Friday, it's getting a little bit even closer. It's on Saturday that they hit the same degree. And then by the time we get to next Tuesday, Mercury, so this is Tuesday the 9th, Mercury's 3 degrees behind the sun. By Tuesday the 16th, Mercury's 3 degrees ahead of the sun. So this is something we're feeling all week long into next week.
Yay.
Yeah.
Let's take advantage of this sparkly energy.
Yeah.
And I did have a question also asking what happened at the end of last week's episode. So
What happened?
Well, I was in the middle of talking and it just froze, but I could see everybody commenting, but they couldn't hear me or see me, I guess. So anyway, I posted about the good news article and the winner from last week on my YouTube timeline. So if anything happens like that in the future, just go check my YouTube timeline and I'll have an update on there. But we're at the mercy of technology, and
yeah.
I keep blaming it on the Uranus retrograde in Gemini, but I don't know if that's legit. I just keep saying, dang, Uranus and Gemini retrograde. That's my first house or 12th house, I guess, depending on what degree it's at. So I don't know. I'm just blaming everything on Uranus right now. Okay, so let's talk about the next one then. We have on the 12th, so in a couple of days, Sun in Virgo, sextile Jupiter in Cancer at 19 degrees. So here's what I know about how this energy feels and why I picked this, because Scott sent me a list longer than your grocery list of all the things happening astrologically. And I actually felt into the energy of all of them that were listed. And that's how I picked which ones we were going to talk about this week. So the Sun in Virgo, sextile Jupiter in Cancer, I just felt like it could bring a lot of abundance with our home and our feeling of home and feeling like connected to our home. Sun in Virgo makes me think of like the organization stuff that you mentioned a minute ago. Mm-hmm. But I also know enough to know that the sextile is a positive flowing aspect between, in this case, Sun and Jupiter. So I just felt like, wow, wherever we have Cancer in our chart, that we have an opportunity to embrace more goodness. That's what I got energetically, like psychically, when I looked at that. Again, it felt like a really good astrological aspect transit. So I know we talk a lot about like doom and gloom because of the headlines when we go into that section of the show.
Sure.
That these first two that we're talking about with the astrology of the moment actually felt like hopeful about it. Like it felt like a really good week that we're in. So what do you want to say to us as the resident astrologer here? Like what the heck this actually means?
I mean, I think you covered a lot of it right there because, Cancer rules the home and Jupiter is bringing that sense of abundance and expansion to the home. Virgo, the Sun in Virgo, creating that organizational vibe within the home. Of course, Mercury is also going to be close to the sun at this point. So Mercury is also going to be making this aspect with Jupiter. But I think another way to look at it is also, Cancer represents your past, your roots, your upbringing, your childhood, the ones who raised and nurtured you, your ancestors, your bloodline. So this is a good opportunity for ancestral cleansing, clearing, healing, because with the sun and Mercury in Virgo, that's focusing attention. Remember, Mercury is the planetary ruler of Virgo. Virgo is symbolized by the Virgin. The Virgin signifies perfection. And so we're able to really see things that maybe we had missed before. So this could be a good time to take a broader or expansive yet more detailed look at your past, your ancestry, your bloodline, and really determine what it is you want to eliminate about your story. What are the burdens that it's always been this way in my family. My dad this, my grandfather that. It's in our no, this is what you want to eliminate, right? If my mom, my grandma, and my aunt and all these women in my family, if this thing has happened to them, but I don't want it to happen to me anymore, then this is the time to acknowledge what that is and say, this is not going to be a part of my story anymore. I'm moving forward. I'm leaving this in the past.
Ooh. Ooh-hoo. Ooh-hoo. This feels like what we were describing at the top of the episode, where we both were reflecting on how we just felt like this huge weight was lifted off of us. I feel like this week ahead can bring about, yes, the clarity that you mentioned, but also this feeling of like, wow, I feel energetically supported to actually let this go, or I have this clarity now that I didn't have before, and I know now what to do with it. Which feels different than sometimes, the energy at times over the course of the year has felt very hazy. That doesn't feel like this energy. This energy feels like there's a sharpness to it where we can lift the binoculars up to our eyes and see what it is that we didn't see before, but use it in a positive way.
That's it. It's about precision. Virgo's about precision. It's the microscope. It's really getting into the nuances, the details of things. And someone asked about a kazimi.
Yeah.
So, just to understand, kazimi, this comes from the Arabic word kasmimi. Hope I'm saying that right. Meaning as if in the heart. So when a planet sits within 17 minutes of arc from the sun's exact degree, it's literally in the heart of the sun. So Mercury is moving into the heart of the sun. It's conjunct right now, but the kazimi doesn't actually happen until the 13th. That's when it will be directly in the heart of the sun. So if you're looking for that in your own chart, you want to see, are there any planets within 17 minutes of the same degree as your sun in the same sign?
Yes. Because kazimi is when the sun and a planet are at that same degree in the same sign in your chart. So that's how you would know if you have a kazimi. I would say they're relatively rare to have like a true kazimi.
Yes.
But every once in a while, you probably come across one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I have one.
Yeah. You have one?
Yeah.
What planet?
Well, it's not a planet. It's my north node.
Ooh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I wonder why you're such a powerhouse.
Thank you, Dallisa.
You're welcome, Scott. So we want to look, if you're looking for what areas of your life these are impacting the most, you want to look at your Virgo house, where Virgo is at in your chart. And then if you want to look at Jupiter and Cancer and where that is playing out, look for your Cancer house.
Yes.
And that Sun in Virgo sextile Jupiter and Cancer is at 19 degrees. Yeah. And just a quick note, if you're joining a little bit late, we will be giving away the tarot report later in the show. We did not forget, so just stand by. For everyone watching live or the replay, you'll all be able to join in on it. Okay. The third thing I have listed here that I felt like, ooh, we got to chat about this is, do you like my sound effects? September 14th, Sun in Virgo, which we've already talked about,
Yes.
is going to square the moon in Gemini. Now, this one does not quite feel like the other two. I know because a square is potentially going to create some kind, or has the ability to create tension of some kind.
Yes.
And so if I'm thinking about that, and I'm thinking about all the wonderful things about the sign of Gemini, it just feels like things could go a little bit sideways. I think it's at 21 degrees.
It's at 21 degrees. And if you're into numerology and like numbers and that sort of stuff, it's at 21 degrees. 2 + 1 is 3. And it's happening exact at 3:33 a.m. Pacific Daylight Savings Time.
Wow. Yeah, that's big.
So there's lots of threes there. And, you know, what's interesting about that from the astrological perspective is Gemini is the third sign. So the moon is in Gemini. That's the third sign. Mercury is the planetary ruler of Gemini and Virgo. And so the tension between these two energies, Mercury rules Gemini, which is the extroverted expression of the mind. It rules Virgo, which is the introverted expression of the mind. So the tension is between what's going on internally in your conscious and what you're actually saying, or what you're hearing outside of yourself. So in order to relieve that tension, we need to be open to hearing the criticism that other people are sharing with us. Hopefully they'll be interested in hearing the critique that we have of them as well. But that could be what Sunday's about. Sunday could be where, now that we've had this time to really see things very clearly with the Mercury kazimi, and we've processed a little bit what that means for us, we need to be curious about the perspective of others. And in being curious about their perspective based on what we have now seen, there might be some discomfort there. Okay.
Yeah. I'm trying to kind of come up with an example or a way to process that. And I saw somebody comment a minute ago about victimhood energy. So I wonder if on Sunday, because Sunday is like the day because the moon moves so fast. So Sunday feels like a good litmus test to see how well you are handling criticism from other people that may be coming your way. Like, have you done the work, or are you sitting in victim energy, or like, how dare they say that about me, or why are they saying that to me? Seeing how far you've come with your healing and your growth around that. Yeah. And also noticing how you're using your words, because words are energy. Yes. And if you are directing criticism, even if it's only inside of your head and you don't say it out loud, that energy is still there.
Yes.
And that attracts more energy that is like it to you, and through your thoughts, like attracts like. And so even noticing what the internal stories are on Sunday, even if nobody's throwing a jab your way, notice what your internal thoughts are doing, and are they reflective of the person that you want to be in the world?
That's it. That's brilliant right there.
Well, thank you.
Yes. Yeah, no.
I'm doing my best over here,
You
Scott.
summed that up very clearly. Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Be curious about yourself and the thoughts that you're having. Where are these coming from? Is this who I want to be? Is this how the way that I speak to myself, is this how I want other people to speak to me?
Yeah. So that's not like the other two we talked about, but I think
but see, the other two are supporting us to get to that point where we can now have the, because like I just saw in the comments, Sarah's saying, this girl's been crying for 2 days straight. I'm like one raw nerve, lunar lunacy. I mean, like, I feel like a lot of people are feeling like Sarah, and so everything ebbs and flows. And so I think as we get deeper into this week, there's going to be more flow. But then by the time we get to Sunday again, it's going to get crunchy. Saturday night into Sunday, it's going to get crunchy again. So, yeah.
Well, we will all keep that in mind. That's why we watch this show every week, or at least for you and I, why we talk about it.
Yes.
Because this is like your survival guide on how to get through life in the best possible way so that you feel like you're working with the energy so that the energy doesn't use you. Yeah, work with it, not against it.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's take a look at our top fans real quick. So this is over on, for our friends over on YouTube that are watching. And we have 9 people over on YouTube that are all tied.
Oh, wow.
So every time you comment, you get points, and it's just a fun thing we do over on YouTube. So I know some are watching over on Facebook. You're always welcome to join us over on YouTube if you want, but we have that little indicator on our live stream telling us who's winning.
Yes.
Who's winning. Okay. So that gives us some good ways to work with the energy over this coming week. Let's dig into the headlines that we selected. And I didn't put any in from today because honestly, every day is just, yeah. So they were put together yesterday, the 8th, but they changed so fast. So just know that.
That's why it's called news, right? Because there's always something new to talk about.
Yes. Okay. So we've been talking on some of the episodes, and I definitely been talking about it in my Sacred Signals community about how some of the psychic predictions are the dismantling as an overall theme, but one of those sections under the dismantling of the world is about healthcare. And that there will be a lot of changes to it. And this article that I picked was about how health insurance is going to go up, and it's going to what they call surge. So whatever, if you are paying it yourself, expect a much higher health insurance next year. And employers, that's crunchy because the more they have to pay in premiums for healthcare may mean that they have to reduce the number of people they can hire because expenses are up. But I also felt psychically, and you and I were going back and forth on this, that with a surge in healthcare prices, there will be more people that will say, no, thanks, I'm out. And then that's part of a dismantling and a reconfiguration of health insurance. So yeah. And I know Virgo rules health. So we've been talking about Virgo. Yeah. So what do you make of this?
Well, Mercury is symbolic of the caduceus, which is that symbol of health. And Mercury rules Virgo. And Virgo is about eliminating what is no longer serving us. And this is this is one of those areas where, I think co-pays, deductibles, premiums surging next year. I think because more and more people are opting out of having healthcare because it feels like we're getting ripped off. It was supposed to be this thing where it's like free healthcare when Obama took over, and it's like, no, this is expensive. It's like, it's really expensive. So, and then you pay healthcare and then you go to the doctor and you pay more. And it's really, then you hear about like what other people pay in different countries, for like medication. It's like pennies on the dollar compared to what they charge people in America. So, I think this is part of eliminating and reducing, whatever it is. Like, if this isn't serving you, then why are you paying for it?
Yeah. Yeah. And Leanne makes a great comment in our live chat. She says, I think doctors and medical professionals should come together and make their own union and get away from these huge health networks and start working for the people. That feels, I know it's not what we've talked about so far in this episode, but could it be at all related to Pluto and Aquarius, like power to the people? Do you think
For
that?
sure.
Yeah, so do I. I think so
Yeah.
too.
And I mean, I think there are already, I think it's a brilliant idea that Leanne brings up, but I think there are some groups. I'm not sure off the top of my head, but, like a friend had told me like a couple years ago that she was a part of some kind of medical collective
Hmm.
where she pays them a certain amount of money a month and can use them for whatever she needs. And it's like all inclusive. So, I think it's happening.
Yeah, I
It's
agree.
happening.
And we're going to see more of it. Hmm.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
I don't think the healthcare system and insurance remains the same as we get deeper into Pluto and Aquarius. That's my hunch
No.
on it. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right.
Whew. Okay. Let's see what's next. Oh, yay. Postal traffic into the United States plunges by more than 80% after Trump ends exemption. So I'll read the subtitle on here because I think it'll help people understand. Dozens of operators have suspended service to the U.S. until a solution is implemented on parcels worth $800 or less. This is obviously a very big number. I think that psychically, the US Postal Service will go through its own dismantling and reconfiguration because, um, from a business owner's perspective, their energy feels like a business that is not run in an efficient way. So somebody or a group of people need to go in there and figure it out, which could be also power to the people and how we make the postal service run in a more efficient way in the future. But obviously, the postal service losing money is an issue for the short term.
Hmm.
Yeah. So, what do you connect this to astrologically?
Well, to me, it's quite obvious, right? I mean, what is the Postal Service about?
Local
Communication.
neighborhoods. Oh,
It's
I
about
was going to go
communication.
like local neighborhoods for Gemini.
It's about communication.
Okay.
You used to, maybe it's not so obvious nowadays, but back before the internet, used to write letters to people. And if you had something you wanted to say, you wrote it in a letter, you put a stamp on it, you put the address, you send it in the mail, and it gets there if you wanted to communicate with somebody, even or before phone or telegraph. So, this is something like in my recent Substack, if you're subscribed to my Substack or to my email list, like I talk about like the last 50 years, all the different times Mercury kazimis has happened. And there's always some sort of reconfiguration around communication or health. And so the fact that the Postal Service is going through this right now, while the Sun and Mercury and Virgo and about to form a kazimi, there's going to be an elimination of something. Uh, I know. I'm sorry, Jax. You've never written a letter before. I'm sure Jax only uses email or texting, probably not even email. But so yeah, that's what this is. It's eliminating things that aren't working in terms of communication and restructuring them. That's also Virgo too. It's mutable earth. So mutable is adaptable, changeable. Even though it's earth, it's about reconfiguring these old structures so that they can move forward in our present reality and still survive today.
So do you see this as a trend every year when Sun goes into Virgo? Can we expect more news headlines around health and communication? Like, is it
Well,
just kind of
it's
an
not
annual
as
theme?
intense as this year because not every year is a kazimi.
Ah, okay.
There's not always a kazimi. Like the last kazimi, let me look at my notes here. So the last kazimi was 2023. So it was 2 years ago. Before that was 2019. And then you had a run where it was 2018, 2017. So there was a few years where it happened in a row, but it doesn't always happen every year. Sometimes there's a 2 to 4 year gap between kazimis. But
Okay.
yeah, if there's a kazimi, but even to a lesser degree, like you're saying, if whenever the sun or Mercury are transiting through Virgo, which happens every year, there's going to be some variation of this.
Okay. Good to
Yes.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go on to our next headline. Yeah. Shortage of home buyers forces many sellers to lower prices or walk away as sales slump drags on. This is something we talked about at great length. I know I talk about it pretty regularly in Sacred Signals, and this is no joke. I mean, this is the Associated Press coming out with this news headline. They're reputable for late breaking news, and I found their information articles to be pretty down the middle in terms of politics. When I see this article from the AP, I'm like, yeah, this is happening, because a lot of the
Mm-hmm.
stuff we see online we just can't trust anymore, and that's going to get harder to decipher truth from fiction.
Yes.
But this psychically feels very, very legit. And of course, it depends on where you live. But I think that psychically, as I've channeled in recently, there will be some cities that will be harder hit from their real estate markets worse than the 2008 recession. So there is this like free fall in some of these markets,
Mm.
and people that need to sell or really want to sell and can't. And so
Mm.
then that drives prices down.
Yep.
And there are a lot of people that are still in their 3% mortgages from a few years ago. So
Mm.
it's made it a very tight real estate market.
Yes.
Is there anything astrologically that you want to connect to this?
So a few things actually. Um, Number one, in thinking about the eclipse, and the eclipse was happening at 15 degrees in Pisces. That's the second decan of Pisces, which is Cancer. Cancer is the mother. Cancer rules the home. So the release was of home, of mother, of over mothering. So that coupled with this Virgo frequency of the kazimi coming up, Virgo's about practicality. And to be quite honest, these home prices are completely inflated. They just keep going up and up and up and up and up and up and up. And why do they keep going up? I mean, there's a lot of different theories, but one that I kind of subscribe to is that the people buying the homes aren't actually people. They're corporations.
Mm-hmm.
And so because corporations are eating up all the housing market, they're making it harder and harder for people to buy homes. And so when the average Doug over here in the picture is trying to sell the home, but is unable to because eventually, like, these corporate dollars are going to run out too. Like, they've outpriced themselves. And it's kind of like the healthcare article as well.
Mm-hmm.
where it's like people are like, you know what, I don't need to buy a home right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'll wait until the market changes,
Mm-hmm.
because it's overpriced. Just because you're charging this doesn't mean that that's what it's worth. It's only worth that if I pay you the money for that. So I think it's creating that reconfiguration. Also, Pluto and Aquarius is going to change the way that the community is connected to each other through how we live.
Yes, I agree. I've been channeling that the future of real estate is going to include more multi-generational homes. There'll be homes where several adults that are not related will be living together in those homes. And that there will be like more community properties, like where there's like a community garden and smaller homes. So yeah, I think the future of real estate is going to really change. And I don't even think like buying a home, first of all, right now, I think a lot of people can't qualify because of how overpriced the homes are, which is keeping a lot of people out of the real estate market. But because of how much of the dismantling of the overall system that's going to happen, I don't think people will be able to qualify in the future, or it's like this energy of, I don't even want to qualify for it. I don't want to go and buy a home. So what we value when it comes to real estate feels like it's going to really shift. But for the most part, it feels like either trading, meaning like you trade someone for your rent, like you give them something and they give you rent at a location, like maybe you work at a place that you're tending to the community garden and they give you free rent. Or I feel like there's going to be more creative solutions to how people are living moving forward.
Yes.
Yeah. So more to come on that. Yes. Okay. Edge of the cliff. A top economist says the U.S. is in a full-blown labor recession that risks spilling into the rest of the economy. This article feels like it should have come out 6 months ago. This feels like old news.
Yeah.
But it did hit the news cycle, so that's why I clipped it. It's going to implode on a variety of levels, artificial intelligence being one, increased healthcare that we just talked about, reduction of staff because of increased expenses. We could have a whole show on the future of work. But I think that we are headed into at least some kind of recession. But there's some economists that are predicting that it could even be worse than that. So, jobs, recession, issues with the labor numbers. Where does that come in?
I mean, I feel like we're already in a recession. We've been in a recession. It's like when they say this sort of stuff, it's like, oh, this isn't news to whoever this guy is talking here. Like, he's known this for years now, and he's just ready to start talking about it because, now he's in a position to make money off of the words that he's sharing to the public that the public's then going to react upon. But, this is what we've been talking about for years with Uranus in Taurus. Uranus is in Gemini right now, but on November 7th, it moves back into Taurus, and then it's in Taurus until the end of April next year. So, to remind everyone who hasn't heard me say this 1,000 times, but the last time Uranus was in Taurus was 1935 to 1942, which was during the Great Depression. The time before that was the 1850s, which was during the gold rush, when people were so desperate that they got in a horse and buggy and traveled thousands of miles to put a pan in water and hope that gold would appear. So that was another desperate financial time. This is where we are. This is where things are. And I've been waiting for some sort of collapse to happen. It hasn't really happened in the way that where it's acknowledged.
Mm-hmm.
It's teased like this through these news stories. And I just wonder if, between November and April this year to next year is when something finally, when the bottom actually drops out, and it has to be reset in some way.
Repeat those months again.
So Uranus transits back into Taurus on November 7th of this year. And then it's in Taurus until, let me get the date. It's going to be April. It moves out of Taurus on April 25th. April 25th.
So those 6 months or so are going to be really, really big in terms of our economy and what we see. Yeah.
Yes. Finance, money,
Mm-hmm.
like this is the planet of revolution at the final 3 degrees of the sign that represents money and material security.
Mm-hmm.
So our money and material security is going to go through a revolution.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And
the way that, what were we going to say?
I was going to say, Jax mentioned a minute ago about the gold rush. You talked about like people moving and picking up for a chance to like put their pan in water and see if they hit gold.
Yeah.
Jax brings up a good point. This is the digital gold rush. Like this is the rise of AI. And so for those people that are really figuring it out and innovating, whatever sector you want to innovate in when it comes to technology and AI, you could be a part of this gold rush that's happening right now. Because even in the biggest reset or the biggest depression, there will be people that ultimately come out of it on the other end being really financially well off, depending on how they spent the time when finances were in a huge downturn.
I think the important point to make, though, is that everything you said is right on the money. But I think the important point to make is that even though Taurus is about money, even more than that, it's about what you value. And so there are billionaires that are not financially independent. We have this idea in our society that because you have a lot of money, you're financially independent. And that's a fallacy. That's a lie. Financial independence does not matter depending on how much money is in your bank account. It depends on how you're living your life. It's like, the other day, yesterday, I think it was, Gabriella and I were just like lying in bed at like 9:30 in the morning. And we're like, this is great. People are in traffic right now going to work, or they're in their cubicles and that sort of stuff. And we're in bed. And I'm going to go to work across down the hall into my office for a few hours. And, it's like, this is how I'm living my life. Like that is financial independence, where it's like, I don't need to make a certain amount of money so I can buy certain things or whatever. I've boiled my life down to what I truly value over this. That's been the assignment over the last 7 years, is what do you truly value? And when you cut out all the fat, you realize you don't have to sell your soul to the dollar.
Preach. Yes, it totally makes sense. Because I feel the same exact way. There's so many mornings where I wake up and I don't have to start work immediately. And I'm watching either like CBS Mornings or I'm watching something on YouTube and I'm eating my breakfast and I'm like, this is like hitting the riches. Like this is the gold rush. Like this is abundance. And you're right. You don't have to make a huge amount of money, but it does take some craftiness and some efficiency in figuring out, well, here's how much I make and here's what I could do. And especially if you're thinking of starting your own business or if you have one right now, it's a lot of work, but there is a lot of flexibility in it. But to your point, you don't have to be a millionaire in order to be quote unquote rich.
Well, and the other thing is too, like Venus, the goddess of love, is the planetary ruler of Taurus. So when you're talking about work, like even when I do go to work, which is me walking down the hall, I love what I do. I mean, I'm not like, oh God, I've got a client now. It's like I'm excited. I'm happy, and so it's about finding what you love.
Yeah.
Finding what you love. That's what Uranus is doing. It's really trying to shake all of the excess off of us because it's weighing us down.
Yeah.
It's keeping you from true love and happiness.
I hear you. I think you just inspired some folks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. All right.
hope
Oh, and I
so.
forgot to answer a question earlier. Somebody in the live chat was asking who this woman is up here. That's my grandmother, Eloise.
Oh,
And this was, they've both passed on. This is my great grandmother, Beulah. And she would trap animals and get their furs, apparently. So those were photos of them. So forgot to answer the question. Okay. Lumber prices are flashing a warning sign for the U.S. economy. Wood prices are sliding and mills are cutting back because of uncertainty over tariffs and a building slump. I feel like we've covered this, but it's just another example of what we're seeing in the news story. And as Scott, you mentioned, between that November date and that April date, that we will be seeing Uranus going back into Taurus and then moving finally out of Taurus. And it would be going then through Gemini in its completeness. But we'll be seeing more of these types of headlines as we get closer and closer and into November through April. Yeah.
yes. And that's again, that's like the Virgo vibe. Virgo's earth, trees come from the earth. There's something's off there. Something needs to be eliminated. Things have been overpriced or overvalued, and they need to be eliminated.
Yeah. So we're doing a lot of eliminations, clearing,
Yep.
and we're figuring out, well, now that we're all really starting to see everything dismantle, what are we going to do about it? So yeah.
Yeah.
Whew. I feel like there's going to be a lot of people taken to the streets in one way or another. But we'll see how that unfolds. This one is interesting because we've talked about religion before, and I know that there's some things maybe, I don't know, maybe it's a Neptune thing, but the article from NPR, Fantasy or Faith, one company's AI-generated Bible content stirs controversy. It's Pray.com, and it's producing several AI-generated videos about the Bible each week. Many depict epic stories from the Old Testament and Book of Revelation. So there are some people that are like, why the heck are you doing this? And some that are like, this is amazing. We actually going to get to see part of the Bible come to life. But we're also incorporating in this new artificial intelligence into something that is frankly old and very sacred to a lot of people. So what the heck? Where is this coming into play with like AI mixes with religion?
I mean, it fits perfectly into like the age of information theme with the current Mercury messenger era. This kazimi, like this represents exactly the kind of truth versus fabrication that occurred in the kazimi of 2023 in Virgo with the AI explosion. So that's when AI kind of burst onto the scene, was the 2023 Virgo Mercury kazimi. So questions about what's real versus artificial in sacred content echo this point, and in terms of, truth becoming like weaponized or democratized. It's like what's real, what's fiction with, Mercury in Virgo, the Virgin. You think of the Virgin Mary, Mother Teresa is a Virgo. So it all kind of plays in with the religion. I find that Virgo is and we talked about this too, right? When we were talking about the popes, that Virgo is one of the signs that pops up a lot in the popes. It's Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces.
Whoop, whoop.
Those are kind of the three signs that represent faith and religion. And so, of course, this is coming up right now.
Yeah. So fascinating the ways that artificial intelligence is blending with our life. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whew. Yeah. Nothing surprises me anymore. I hate to say that, but like nothing surprises me.
Yeah. I'm the same. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's see what's next. Drone blunder. Is this the smoking gun footage that proves China's role in the Ukraine war? Bombshell drone video reveals China's factory. Evidence that China has been directly supporting Putin's war in Ukraine has been speculative until now. I'm going to go through these last few because I think we can probably kind of talk about these at the same time. This was announced recently. About this article came out on the 5th, a declaration on, I believe it was the White House website, restoring the United States Department of War. Instead of it being the Department of Defense, it has now been changed or is trying to get changed into the Department of War. And you can definitely look that up and read all about it and what that means. The next one, Russia strikes Ukraine cabinet offices, an unprecedented deadly assault with over 800 drones. So drones are being used more in warfare, which is new technology, a different way of fighting war than what we've done in the past. And we're changing names from defense to war. So energetically, psychically, I've been talking about this for a while in Sacred Signals about how the energy of war keeps like percolating and increasing, and how I see psychically that we will be in a bigger war. And we're not just going to like magically wake up one day and all the war is done and everyone is living happily ever after. I don't think that is like the world that we are living in right now. It feels like Earth is, and I've talked about this a lot in my different classes, but Earth is an advanced classroom. And so in an advanced classroom, we have a lot of contrast. And so with contrast, we get a lot of things like war. I was talking about contrast and how we are on a planet that has a lot of lessons around light and dark. And, because a lot of people have a lot to say about war, and it's horrifying, what happens during war. But I think it's part of the makeup, at least right now, of what Earth School entails with this contrast. So what do you think about these 3 stories that all have to do with drones and Department of War and how this energy is kicking up yet again? I know there was headlines today. I haven't had a chance to look at them, where there was an attack, but that felt like it was connected to the Israeli war. So what's going on?
So I touched on this in a few of my recent Substack essays. One of them is called like Dreams Catching Fire. That has to do with Neptune in Aries. I think it's Neptune in Aries aligning with Pluto in Aquarius. Pluto's the god of death. Aquarius is the sign that represents technology because it's symbolized by the water bearer, and the water bearer invented the jug. So we're talking about new warfare technology, which is the drones bringing death. Pluto's the god of death. And Neptune is in Aries, which is the sign that's ruled by Mars, the god of war. But Neptune is the planet of ideology. And so these are wars of ideology. I believe that I'm right and you're wrong. So I have the right to kill you because me killing you is the righteous choice, because your beliefs are wrong, different than my beliefs, and my beliefs are right and your beliefs are wrong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I knew the planets had something to do with this.
Oh, always.
Oh, goodness gracious.
We're not living in a box.
Yeah. And as Linda mentioned, we talked about this also, I believe it was last week, or maybe I talked about it in Sacred Signals. I can't remember, but France is preparing their hospitals for World War III.
We did last week.
Okay.
We talked about this. Yeah.
Yep. So I'm just expecting more headlines to come out. Luckily, we have our psychic abilities and our intuitive gifts, and we have astrology, and we can look at it and go, okay, well, here's what we see as the energy that's unfolding. So we can really kind of stay a few steps ahead. I mean, imagine all the people that aren't listening to this show. They're missing out.
Yes.
This is our last headline before we go into announcing how we're going to do the tarot report winner. So the cause of Alzheimer's could be coming from within your mouth. So in recent years, an increasing number of scientific investigators have backed an alarming hypothesis that Alzheimer's disease may not be merely a condition of aging the brain, but the product of infection. So it goes on to say in the article, they are looking at the connection between gum disease and Alzheimer's. And I know a lot of people have gum disease and have issues with their mouth and their gums, and so that isn't to frighten you. I actually see this article as like, yeah, keep researching. Like, let's figure out how these dots are connected, because once we figure out what's really like the underlying root cause, then we'll be able to come up with the therapy or the medication for it. And it's part of this eradication, I feel like, with a lot of these diseases with the rise in technology and AI. But this I don't think had anything to do really with artificial intelligence. It was just a connection that scientists were coming up with. But is this the Virgo stuff with the health and the clarity that we're getting with that Virgo energy?
I think so too. Yeah, definitely Virgo. And, Mercury rules the mind, whereas Alzheimer's happening in the mind, losing the mind. I'm going to the dentist in 2 days. So it's like, but so it does freak me out. But no, I'm with you. It's like, yeah, keep doing research here, figure this out, and help people. But yeah, Mercury in Virgo, because it rules the mind and its health.
I'm trying this trend. Sense. Yeah, I'm trying this trend where we end on something positive. And this to me feels like very positive. I love when there's breakthroughs when it comes to health.
And that's also like the new technology of Pluto, in Aquarius, like doing this research. You've been like the last few weeks, you've been doing articles. You've been showing articles about health advancements and that sort of. I think that's Mercury Pluto in Aquarius. Yeah, technology. Yeah,
yeah. We'll keep our eyes open for that. Yeah.
Thank you, Cindy. Thank you for. Perfect. Yes. Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I love what Diana said. Diana, go get your friends. Saying this is her favorite news show.
Amazing. Yes. Thank you, Diana. And Jax also had she was responding to what you said earlier. They're missing out and freaking out if they're not watching. For the people that aren't watching are missing out and they're freaking out. So that was hilarious.
Yes. So a couple of quick announcements, and then we're going to talk about the tarot report giveaways. So if you haven't done so already, make sure you give the episode a thumbs up, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and turn the bell notifications on so that you don't miss future notifications of episodes. The next week's episode, we're going to be taking a look at a couple of things. Mercury in Libra, Venus in Virgo. The big one, new moon solar eclipse in Virgo at 29 degrees, the final degree. So next week episode, be on the lookout for that. And you'll hear all about the upcoming eclipse. So that'll be fun. I'm looking forward to learning all about the eclipse with Scott here and talking about our downloads. Couple of quick things. The Chakra 101 class is coming up. It's going to be on September 24th. You can either watch live or you can enjoy the full replay. You get both and name your own price until September 24th. Join the over 70 people who have already enrolled. We're going to have a good time. That's going to be awesome. So thank you to everybody that signed up for that. Scott, I got to give you a shout out because you are teaching astrology classes in Sacred Signals the next 2
Oh,
weeks.
yeah. Yeah, that's right. Thanks for reminding me. It's on my calendar, but yes.
Yes.
Tomorrow I've got a class. Yeah.
Yeah. So all
I've
of
got a
the Sacred
class.
Signals members, you get to learn from Scott, one class this week, one class next week. And I know it's going to be so much fun.
I'm
And
excited.
that's included for all Sacred Signals members. So that's going to be awesome. Okay. Do you want to give a plug of anything you've got going on before I go into this tarot report thing?
I would just say listen to my podcast, YouTube, Spotify, Apple. Subscribe to my Substack or my email list if that information is interesting to you. And thanks for having me, Dallisa.
Yay. Yeah. All of your stuff is at theweeklytransit.com. All of my stuff is at spiritandspark.com. So you can find all of the things we have going on our websites. And your podcast is called The Weekly Transit. So go find that, subscribe so you can listen to that too. Get all of your astrology insight from Scott. Okay. So we're doing something a little bit different. So in this episode and in the next episode, we're going to test this out. Because we get a lot of people that watch the replay and we love the live audience here and interacting with everybody. And it's so much fun. But we want to be able to include everybody in the prize drawing. And weekly, we give away to a lucky person a 12-month personalized tarot report. We might even have another prize we're going to throw into the mix sometime soon. More details on that. But we give that away every single week. So what we're going to do for this week and next week, and we want your feedback. So make sure you leave comments and let us know your thoughts. There is a link that I am going to push out here on YouTube, and then I will get it over onto Facebook as well. Let's get this up here. So in your YouTube comments, and I'll pin it underneath as well after this live stream is over, so you'll find it in the description. I just dropped it on the YouTube comments. All you have to do is click that link at spiritandspark.com/SEPT for September, SEPT-9. So spiritandspark.com/SEPT-9 for September 9th, because that's today's date. All it is a little form. Fill it out, and you have to know the magic word. Oh. So the magic word for this week's episode is blue. Type in the word blue. I think of it as like
color, like
blue skies. Blue is a color connected to our psychic chakras.
I love blue.
So blue. That is your magic word for September 9th. You have to go fill out the form. So we're going to do a form for this week and it'll have a winner. And then we'll do one for next week, which will have a winner. And then we'll be back on the 23rd of September and we'll announce both winners at that time. So you got a few days to fill out the form, but why would you wait? Just get it done, because you'd have to rewatch this and remember the code word. So that's how we're doing it for this week and next week. And again, we'd love your feedback. What do you think about this change up? Scott, what do you think?
Oh, what do I thought you were asking the chat people. I'm excited to see how the viewers respond to this. Part of me kind of misses the jar.
Yeah.
But because I think the jar is fun.
It is fun.
It's interactive.
Yep.
I do appreciate wanting to include the people who are watching online after that weren't able to view it live.
Yeah.
My only concern is that, like, if this is like my sneaky Scorpio side, is like I would, and I just thought of this too. Maybe I should have told you this before is you could just skip to the end. If you knew it's coming, you can't?
No. I think we say the magic word in different parts of the episode.
Oh, so you don't know when it's going to pop up.
Uh-huh.
So you might skip to the end and it's not there. Okay. I like that, Dallisa. I like that. Okay.
I think it's kind of fun. Like you don't know
Cool.
where it's going
No.
to drop. So you're actually paying attention because we
I
want to
love
teach you
it.
something about astrology.
Yes. Yes. I love it. Yes.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, I'll make sure that the link is in the description of the videos, and I'll get it over on Facebook as well. So just make sure you go enter that. Diana was first place over on YouTube today.
Oh.
Linda was second place, and Trina was third place. So for Diana, Linda, and Trina, thank you for being a part of the live chat. And
Yes.
we had a lot of fun with everybody talking to you and seeing what's going on in your world. And of course, we will do it again. We will do it again. So Scott, theweeklytransit.com, and myself, spiritandspark.com. Okay. I think we're good, Scott.
Sounds good. Thanks, Dallisa.
All right. We'll see everybody on the next episode.
All right.
Go enter the drawing. Don't forget, the magic word is blue. See you later. Bye.